Ciao everyone, and welcome to the ISSF World Cup final for 2016. We're in a little town called Lunghezza, which is 22 kilometers east of Roma. And this is how we're concluding a successful ISSF World Cup season. There's beautiful conditions today. It's a really, really bright day. Couple of clouds in the sky, but it's 19 degrees centigrade. And we're just about to commence with the second final of today, which is the women's skeet event. The 6 athletes participating in the semi-final are lined up and will just be introduced to them in a few seconds by our announcer, Daniel Potts. Firstly, though, my name is Shaq, and it's a great pleasure to be joined by yourselves today. We appreciate your company, and it's a real thrill to be joined by the 2-time Olympic champion, 3-time world champion, and the 7-time World Cup gold medalist. I could read out more. I'll probably stop there because we'll go on forever, but it's Vincent Hancock of the USA. Vincent, really, really good to see you today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
There's lots to talk to you about, but we're just getting introduced to the athletes, and here they are. The first one is Weimang of China. She made the Olympic team for the first time this year and finished at 4th place at the Rio 2016 Olympic Games. And here she is, 26-year-old, just gives the crowd a wave. There's our announcer, Daniel Potts, just on the left-hand side. The second athlete is...
She has 10 World Cup golds, and she's the current Olympic champion, Bokossi.
It's Diana Bokossi. She's a 3-time World Cup gold medalist, and she won an emotional gold in the summer, which made her the current Olympic champion.
United States of America. She has an incredible 8 World Cup golds and created history by becoming the first sportswoman ever to medal at 6 consecutive Olympic Games. Kimberly Rody.
Well, it's astonishing to think that she's the only sportswoman ever to medal in 6 consecutive Olympic Games, going back to Atlanta 1996, and that across 3 shotgun disciplines.
13 World Cup medals. She is currently ranked number 2 in the world and picked up the Olympic silver in Rio. Chiara Pagnero.
Well, it was the perfect final for the Italians in this particular event. The Beijing Olympic champion is the new current silver medalist and has made 3 consecutive Olympic finals.
She is 3 times Asian champion, has taken home 2 World Cup golds this year.
Sutiya Jushanamit, the best ever year for the popular Thai shooter, who won 2 back-to-back World Cup gold medals for the first time in her career, and it was a surprise that she missed out on the Olympic final.
In Belgrade, and 3 times World Cup silver medalist, her last of which she won in Nicosia this year.
From Cyprus, she made 1 final this year. That was in Cyprus, and she won her 3rd career silver medal at that home World Cup. So the crowd are just being introduced to the officials now. There we have the jury and the referee for this women's skeet final. So we're just about to get underway, and once again, it really is so nice to be joined by Vincent Hancock. I expect we'll have lots and lots to talk about your experience, your perspective into the finals today. But you did have your first day of qualifications for the men's skeet event, Vincent. Just tell us how that went today.
It started out pretty rough. I had a first round 22. And it could have been a lot worse. I don't know what happened to me out there this morning, but yesterday was a great day. I shot a 75 straight in our pre-event training, but finished up today with a 25 and felt like myself again. So I'm looking forward to getting into tomorrow, and hopefully we get a medal here in the women's from Kim, and that kind of sets the tone really well.
Yeah. How do you find the conditions of this range? It really is a bright sky today. It's quite a vast range. It really opens out, and it's really, really wide. Strange setup behind us where we've got lots of banks but not much seating. How does the range feel to you here?
The range is pretty neat, and knowing that they do a lot of ZZ bird shooting here, and you've got a little bit of everything at this facility, so it's really neat. And you got trains that roll in and out from in front of you.
They're right.
And so you have the noise, you have the sight picture, but it's a beautiful range. It really is. The targets are flying really well. It's an oddity that we have high houses and low houses, so the skeet field actually moves. When they're shooting those easy targets, they roll the high house and low house back out of the way, so that way the birds or the targets have room to fly. So it's really neat. It's the only place I've ever been that has this type of setup. But the targets are flying great. The machines are throwing targets really good, and they're breaking well when you hit them, obviously.
That's what you want.
It looks like they're doing pretty good down there right now too.
So we just saw the first athlete take her shot, and Weimang of China missed 2 targets in her first 2 doubles, and we're currently looking at the Olympic champion, Diana Bokossi. Great for the home crowd to have 2 Italians in the final today.
No, for sure, and they're always at the top of their game, it seems like. I mean, between these 2 Italian ladies here and Kim, they're a staple of almost every single final that you're going to see.
Absolutely. The experience is earth-shattering, I would say.
It really is, and they've been around for a long time.
We were talking about this in the previous double trap final, where we noted that Fahed Al-Dihani, the current Olympic champion in double trap, actually competed in 2 different shotgun disciplines. And this is another unusual thing about Kimberly Rohde, because she's competed in trap, double trap when it was around, and now in skeet. And that's really unusual for a shotgunner.
Oh, absolutely. And the transition between the different events is very difficult. Now, her first event that she shot was double trap, and then when they disqualified or discontinued the women's version of double trap, she had to pick either trap or skeet. And a lot of us thought that she would just go straight into trap because that was we had some really, really strong skeet shooters at the time, and we had strong trap shooters as well, but we just all assumed that double trap would go to trap. But she started out originally as a skeet shooter when she was really young. So it was an easier transition for her to go from double trap to skeet. And she started out in 2005 and kind of went right along, made the first team, and started winning medals pretty much immediately afterwards. And then when she made the 2012 team, we had, because the women at the time only had 1 quota spot, they were allowing other women to transfer over. So all she had to do was get an MQS, and she would be allowed to go in and shoot the trap team. So she didn't actually make a trap team from the U.S., but because she had an MQS, she was allowed to shoot the trap in the Olympics.
And just for the benefit of the viewers, an MQS is a minimum qualifying score.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And that in and of itself is not an easy thing to get. So she did have to shoot in a World Cup or World Championship prior to the Olympic Games to be able to get that MQS. And she did it, and she shot really well in the Olympics too. She almost made the final.
Well, Rohde was an Olympic champion twice for the double trap event in 1996 and 2004. And she was the Olympic champion in this event, skeet, in London. We just saw the Cypriot Andri Eleftheriou miss 1 of her first 4 targets. And it's the current Olympic champion, currently tied with Jushanamit of Thailand and Rohde of the USA with 4 hits each. Kiara Kainero may be a little bit of a surprise to see her trailing at this early stage, having missed 2 targets on her first station. And skeet is also different in the fact that all 6 of the shooters line up one behind the other, 1 station at a time, rather than on each different station.
Usually it's the reverse pair on 3 that begins the kind of the pivotal movement of people in the positioning that you have. And obviously with 2 athletes having missed 2 targets, that is unusual coming off the first station. But going through station 4 the first time, it kind of helps you to calm your nerves a little bit from that station 3. And then you move over into station 5 and you have the reverse pair there too, which typically you're going to see at least some people miss on that target. And when they get back to station 4 for the second go around, that's when you start seeing the nerves really come out.
Yeah. Yeah, when Vincent talks about a reverse pair, the normal order that we would see from the beginning of the competition is that the athlete would have to shoot the high target, then the low target, and then the low, and then the high. But that order is reversed on the 3rd station, which they call station number 5. We're currently on station number 4, which is the 2nd station. Bokossi shooting perfectly so far. She's got one more double on this second station. And she's made to wait a little bit for that.
We had I was watching the double trap final earlier, and we had a couple of athletes having some issues with some mics there too. But she was able to call again, and it's always good if you get a no bird instead of calling right afterwards. That kind of can upset your mode a little bit. So it's always good to kind of reset, then restart the clock on the time, and you go from there. So that's a very wise move. Obviously, from a seasoned athlete too, she knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
And it's always good to just kind of reset and re-go.
So it's just wanting to compose herself a little bit and not let the no target distract her.
Absolutely.
Well, Rodi and Bokossi, who we just saw before, have shot perfectly so far. Here's Gainero, who's going to need to make a good comeback after missing 2 on her first station. She's also had a slight delay there. Silver medalist this summer. It was a memorable gold medal match for the Italians because it was Bokossi and Gainero who faced off against each other in that match.
It was certainly interesting to watch for sure. They were both pretty emotional, but Chiara, looking at the two, you would have never thought that Diana would have been able to do what she did and shoot a really, really good final in the gold medal match because she was crying so much before she stepped up to shoot her first pair.
That's right.
Looking at Chiara, she was very calm. She was relaxed. She'd been there before, and she's already an Olympic gold medalist, so she knew that she already had a medal secured. But going into it, we were all sitting back like, wow, okay, well, let's pick the one that's not crying.
You're right. You're right.
But Diana was able to go right through it and really put together a strong finish.
Yeah, she was really expressive with her emotions, which is good for the spectators. This is what we want to see. It meant so much to everyone involved there. But you're right, she was actually crying before she went into the gold medal match, but somehow she was able to control her emotions and get the gold that she wanted. But it was a memorable day for this discipline anyway, because as we mentioned, Kimberly Rodi, your teammate, broke her own Olympic record of becoming the first sportswoman, and I emphasize sportswoman and not shooter, to medal at 6 consecutive games.
She's certainly a history maker, and that's something that we've known for a very long time. Obviously, having first met her in 2005 when she switched over from double trap, coming into it, she was already one of the most decorated shooting athletes in the world, having 3 Olympic medals. Now coming through and she has 6, no one's even close.
Yeah.
So looking at it and going into what she has an opportunity to do in the next 4 years, she's got a chance at going for 7 for 7. And nobody in the history of the Olympics has ever done that.
And Kimberly Rodi has said publicly that she's definitely going to compete in the next 4 years. She's got no considerations about retiring, so on to Tokyo.
Absolutely.
Now, Vincent, about yourself, we thought that we were going to see you make history this summer. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be. You were the reigning Olympic champion in the men's skeet event since Beijing. You retained that in London, but a lot of people would have been shocked not to see you in the final this summer. So how do you think it went for you?
Obviously, I wish it would have gone a little bit better, but for me, I think it was a better learning experience for me not to have won than it would have been for me to actually get that gold again. And obviously, I had every expectation going into Rio that I was going to compete at a very high level and that I was going to get another gold. I wouldn't have gone down there if I didn't feel like I had a really good chance. But there was something in the back of my mind that was kind of preparing me for, if this doesn't happen, then it's okay. You can take it and you can move on from there. You have nothing left to prove. But for me, obviously, it's not an easy thing to come back home and not get what you want. But I had my wife down there, and I had great support at home between my wife and my girls, and this city where I'm living at now in Fort Worth, Texas. And it was just great to be able to have the opportunity to go and compete in other Olympics, be a part of the Team USA, the greatest team in the world and one of the largest teams down there. And I learned a lot. So moving forward, I'm definitely going to Tokyo, and Fortunately, Kim just missed another one.
Yeah.
Missed one. And you know, it's I have a different mindset already after the Olympics. My training has changed up a little bit, and thankfully next year there's not a whole lot going on. We have. She just missed another one, unfortunately.
We just saw, and this is the reverse station, by the way, so we'll just take a little break to update you that Rodi did miss 2 targets on that reverse station, which is the 3rd station that these shooters are on now. Gainero of Italy, who we're just looking at now, has made a good comeback so far. After missing her first 2, she shot perfectly at station number 2. Or the 2nd station, rather. A little bit confusing with the numbers. And she's just done it again on the reverse station. So this is a good comeback for the Italian.
Absolutely. Once you get something going, it's anybody's game. So Sutiya, she's been shooting really well.
She has.
I was talking with her a little bit earlier today, and if you'll notice on her gun, she's got these little strips of tape. And this week it's very, very bright. She changes colors sometimes. You won't see the majority of shooters have this on their gun. For me, it's distracting. It takes my eyes back to the barrel, but for some people, they use this as kind of a way to see where their barrel is at. Because the barrel is black, and if you have a dark background, like some of the black or the darker trees in the background here, you can kind of lose sight of where your barrel is. And if you're not a true finger pointer, for lack of a better term, I have my finger down the side of the barrel, and I just act like I'm pointing my finger at the target, and I just look straight at the target.
Right.
But some of them kind of measure the shadow of the barrel versus the target, and they see a lead. It takes a lead to be able to break one of these targets, and that allows her to be able to see a little bit clearer where her barrel is, where the shadow is there, and help her build in the lead a little bit easier.
Well, on Jushanamit, she did miss 2 of her targets on the reverse station. So we're going to see a little bit of a change in the leaderboard now. I think it's going to be Bokossi who's in the commanding position. Well, wow. It's a little bit more than that because there's 5 athletes in joint place now. 10 points each for Bokossi, Gainero, Jushanamit, Rodi and Mung. It really is anyone's game because we've only got 1 more station to go now, and at this rate there will definitely be a shoot-off. It's all evened up. That's a really interesting turn of events. It's LF3U of Cyprus who's currently trailing. So the 6 athletes are back on station number 4. It's their 4th station of the semi-final. And I think there might be a shoot-off depending on how this goes. But Weimang has just hit cleanly and has got 2 more targets to go. She came back really well from the first station.
I would be very shocked if there's not a shoot-off. There's definitely going to be for one of the finals at least. It's nice that we're at a place like this and for our last match of the year, because a lot of people are looking forward to having some time off, and that's certainly what I'm going to do next year. I'm very happy to be in Rome. Italy is one of my favorite countries in the world. And to be here, and it's a really nice competition because it's laid back. There's so few people here that it's the top athletes in the world. And Bokossi missed one.
Bokossi, the Olympic champion just missed 1 target on that last station. We'll definitely come back to you, Vincent, and talk about your future plans after we try and make sense of what's going to happen at the end of this semi-final. It's Rodi, the American, shooting right now. 2 more targets left, and she's hit them cleanly, so she finishes on 14, just like Weimang.
And we were shooting in practice the day before official training, and her and I were shooting a lot of reverse targets and pairs on 3, 4, and 5. So I feel very strongly that she'll be able to overcome that station 5 that she had before, where she dropped 2 at, and be able to get to where she is. And Chiara missed 1. So that puts Kim and Weimang into at least the bronze medal match.
So Gainero, I believe, ends up on the same score as her teammate Bokossi, both with 13. Here's the 5th of 6 shooters, Jushanamit, And I have to say about Jushanamit as well, a very, very popular shooter. On her Facebook fan page, she's got tons of followers. She posts something. She helps us expand the profile of shooting sport. And I think she's a great ambassador for the sport itself.
She really is, and she's a very nice woman too. We had a conversation at lunch today, and she's just, you couldn't ask for a better representative for the sport.
Absolutely, yeah. She's just shot her last station really cleanly as well. She ends up on 14 points, so she's going to be now joint with Rodi and Weimang of China. Of USA and China, respectively, I should say. And if this Cypriot hits all of her targets, she won't hit all of her targets. She missed her first high target of that last station, so it looks like she'll be eliminated after the next couple of shots. And it's LF3 Andri of Cyprus, who will finish in 6th place at the end of the semi-final. But there will be a shoot-off, just like there was in the earlier men's double trap event, to decide how we move forward. So it's Jushanamit of Thailand, Rodi of the USA, and Meng of China, who will shoot off second. The first shoot-off will be between the Italians, Bokossi and Gainero, who ended the semi-final with 13. So what this means is that the Italians will shoot off first. The highest scorer of that shoot-off will guarantee their place in a bronze medal match. The lowest scorer from that Italian shoot-off will be eliminated in 5th place. And then we'll have a second shoot-off between Jushanamit, Rodi and Meng. The 2 highest scorers of that second shoot-off will contest for the gold medal match, and the lowest scorer of the second shoot-off will compete in the bronze medal match. I think we got that right. It's quite hard to follow these shoot-offs in shotgun especially sometimes, but I think we've got our head around it now. So there will be 2 shoot-offs, and we'll, the first of them will be the Italian one between Gainero and Bokossi.
And I'm sure that the home crowd will be happy that at least one of their shooters gets into a medal match.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of Italians here, obviously, and you can hear some of them cheering too whenever they were hitting targets.
Yeah.
Running a station.
And the Italians really did provide fantastic support. I mean, the Italians did so well in both shooting, all 3 shooting disciplines, rifle, pistol and shotgun, but they really were an enthusiastic crowd at the Summer Games as well, and it was great to watch. Bokossi shoots first and hits them both. Vincent, if you're involved in a shoot-off, do you have a preference as to whether you go first or second?
It really doesn't matter to me. A lot of people like going first so they can put the pressure on the person behind them, but I've always been, I guess, more drawn to shooting second. That way I know I have the pressure on me. I know what I have to do.
You like the pressure?
I do. It helps me focus, but it also lets me know what I have to do so I can step up and execute. And typically if a person's going to miss right in front of me, I'm pretty aggressive on it, so whenever someone misses, I don't like to give him any space. I take it as quickly as I can.
I can't remember. Remind me. Do you watch the other shooters when they're shooting in a final? I have memories of you turning your back on the field of play when you're not shooting sometimes.
Only the person in front of me is the only person that I watch, and that's just, I don't want to have to watch too many targets as they fly. Your eyes will get tired a little bit, and I have other things that I do. I've got a song playing in my head, or if we're having a full squad, so 6 people, then I'll pace back and forth or something like that, just to kind of waste time and keep myself moving, though.
Okay.
But I watch the person in front of me shoot, so that way I get a good visual on where the targets are moving, where they're coming out of the houses, and if there's wind affecting it or not.
Well, there's no wind today. It's a beautiful day out there. As you can see, the clear blue sky just ahead of Bokossi, who shot perfectly in the shoot-off so far, 6 out of 6. And of course, in the shoot-off, they do shoot only 2 targets at a time, rather than 4 like they would in the semi-final or medal matches. And you can see here because she's turned away from her teammate.
And
Gainero misses her last target. So it's good sportsmanship, as you can see, between the teammates who are inevitably close. And it's going to be the current Olympic champion, Diana Bokossi, then, who goes into the bronze medal match. Her competitor is yet to be decided, but the Olympic silver medalist will finish her year in the ISSF events in 5th place today. And even though she finishes in 5th place, she will remember this year for a long time, not only winning silver, but actually competing in that match with her teammate as well.
They've been paired together for the last two matches now, one in a gold and silver match in the Olympics, which is obviously the biggest match that we have. But this one is it's always fun to have a shoot-off. No matter what you do and the outcome, it's always good to be head-to-head because somebody's going to have their best day and somebody might just have a little bit of one pair that doesn't work. And you're just hoping that you're the best on that given pair.
Yeah. Well, as well as the Olympic silver, Chiara Gainero won her 4th World Cup silver medal this year as well, and that was at the ISSF World Cup in Baku, Azerbaijan. Vincent, have you shot in Baku yet?
I have not. I shot in Gabala last year and shot well, but did not make the World Cup this year. I had some other things we were doing and just trying to prepare myself for the Olympics a little bit better.
Weimang has just missed a target in the shoot-off, so it looks like she will be competing against Bokossi in the bronze medal match.
No, Kim just missed one as well.
She did. Commentator's curse yet again.
Sutiya's got a chance to lock it up right here.
She's in a commanding position here.
And she misses the first target, so everybody continues on.
Well, it's exactly the same then. Nothing has been decided. All of them miss one target in that last double. Going back to Baku, Vincent, so you shot in Gabala. Have your teammates told you about the range in Baku?
They said it was extremely nice. They had a lot of praise for it.
I think that's an understatement. Yeah. It's an amazing range.
I'm sure we'll have many more events there than...
Yeah. Looking at the 2017 season, we do only have the European Championships in Baku next year. There is a Rifle and Pistol World Cup in Gabala, but we believe no shotgun events in Azerbaijan scheduled in the next year.
One of the hardest things for us is that just the travel, getting over there. It takes forever and a day, it seems like.
Yeah.
I think
especially to a place like Azerbaijan, which is about as far east in Europe as you can go.
It is. I think when we traveled to Gabala, I think it was 34 hours for us of total travel time. So long trips, but the range there in Gabala was very nice.
It's really nice.
Yeah, it really is. And the hotel we stayed at was great too. I had no complaints by it. Just the travel was definitely difficult.
Weimang has just missed another target there. Yeah, I remember from my experience at the World Cup final 2 years ago in Gabala, there's beautiful mountains in the background when you're shooting, and the targets really echo when you smash them.
Kim has secured her spot in the gold medal match now.
She's taken advantage of the Chinese athlete's miss.
The targets are flying absolutely perfect right now, too. There's no wind. We had a little bit of wind earlier this morning. Not to mention the very, very cold conditions, too. So, Mung has another chance to get into the gold.
She does. She's not out of the match just yet. So what we do know from this shoot-off is that Kimberly Rhodey of the USA will definitely be competing in the gold medal match. But it's now up to Sutiya Jushanamit of Thailand and Weimang of China to continue shooting off until the tie is broken. Now, the highest scorer between these two will join Rhodey in the gold medal match, and the lowest scorer will join Bokossi in the bronze medal match. She's hit both, so the pressure is on Jushanamit now.
And it was actually Mung and Kimberly that had the shoot-off for the bronze medal in Rio, too.
It was at the Olympic Games, yeah. Was it? it seemed like Jushanamit was a little bit slow on that second target, but she hit it anyway. It's 2 each. Another 2. Another 2 from Weimang.
Cosa passa nella testa dei tecnici? Questi momenti.
And Jushanamit misses one target. So it will be Jushanamit versus Bokossi in the bronze medal match, and Kimberly Rohde of the USA will face Weimang of China in the gold medal match. And that means that the Chinese athlete is guaranteed to at least equal her best ever World Cup final finish, which was a silver at the World Cup final in Gabala, which we were just talking about. That came 2 years ago. Now, among all of these gold medals that Kimberly Rohde has won, she's actually only ever won the gold medal at one World Cup final. That came 5 years ago in the United Arab Emirates when she took gold in Al Ain. So, Vincent, it's good to see that you recovered fairly quickly from Rio, and you take the highs and the lows in sport, of course. And it's really good to know that you're already thinking about the next Olympic cycle. But an important part of your life will be taking a little bit of a break next year. So tell us more about that and why you've decided to do that.
It's been a long trip since I started competing in 2005. It was my first World Cup as an open male competitor.
Now let's just stop you there to tell you you were actually 16 years old when you did that. So actually, let's focus a bit more about that. How did it feel as a 16-year-old to compete in the Olympic team when inevitably an experienced athlete like Kimberly Rohde would have been part of that squad?
It was a lot of fun. At the time, I was a teenager. I was pretty arrogant, and I was kind of fooling myself too. So I didn't think anything about it. I just went out and knew that I wanted to win. I was practicing and competing at a very high level since 2004, and so I knew that I just wanted to go out and shoot my best and win. So in practice, I was shooting plenty of scores that were either perfect or very near perfect, and that gave me the opportunity to go out and actually do it. So I didn't really know what I was doing, I think, for the first year in 2005. I just wanted to go out and I wanted to win everything. Yeah. And I came darn close to it, but that kind of set the stage for me to go on and continue to kind of build myself up and get to the 2008 Olympics.
Well, amazingly, in your first year of competing in 2005, you did actually become world champion that year, which is incredible. And you also won a World Cup gold medal in Korea that year as well.
I won 7. I competed in 7 international events and had 7 medals, with the lowest being silver. I had a really good year that year.
That's amazing. Well, the bronze medal match has got underway. Bokossi has missed one of her 4 targets so far, and it's the Thai shooter who's currently shooting. She can have the opportunity to take an early advantage if she hits the next pair. And she misses one as well, exactly the same target actually, so it's 3 each after the first station.
She's gotten a little bit slower. I was watching her shoot this morning, and she was shooting fairly slow, especially for her. But in that target right there, she shot it extremely slow. I thought it was almost out of bounds. So she would have been, if she would have hit it, she would have been very close to being out of bounds and possibly losing the target.
Do you think stamina or physical ability might have something to do with that? Because it can't be easy to shoot. And this is warm, but especially when we did the pre-Olympics test event in Rio when it was sweltering, you have to somehow adapt your body to these kind of conditions and shoot all day.
Yeah, it definitely plays a part. But for the most part, it's mainly just the mental aspect. If you can overcome it mentally, then you can overcome it physically. And that's obviously at different places in like very, very hot conditions in Texas we compete in on occasion. You do see some athletes that typically will falter in the later part of the day on a very, very long day. And I've even had experience with it as well. And you have to stay hydrated. You have to stay energized. get the appropriate food in your system and get everything going. But physical training can definitely help you in that as well. I love to run, and doing physical exercise is a mainstay in my home as well as just my regimen. So it's always fun to come out and compete on hot days. I hate cold weather, so hot's okay with me.
Yeah. Well, Jushanamit and Bokossi have come back well after missing one target on their first station. They're 7 apiece now as they go into their third station, which is going to see them hit the reverse order. So it will be low-high, then high-low.
And this is typically the station that you're going to see a little bit of movement if there's going to be, especially when you're in a group of 6, the first one. And this pair that she's about to shoot now, the reverse pair, a lot of people miss these targets.
Well, Bokossi didn't. She hit them cleanly, and that's 8 in a row now for her. So she's on 11. Jushanamit knows what she has to do.
And you're starting to notice a little bit, the low house is going, though it's the target that she's shooting first right now, it's starting to go up a little bit more. I've just noticed that the trees and some of the ropes that are over here are blowing a little bit, so we have a little bit of wind coming from our left side. So that's holding the low house target up. And that's why, thinking back about it now, most of the athletes have actually hit this second target because it's sitting up there and it's floating, it's slowing down, it's easier to see. And the targets that they have missed have been the high house. When the wind is coming from the left, it's going to push down the high house. And when the high house gets going down, it gets going a little bit faster. And it's harder to get, since you're having to go up with the low house as it's getting up to its apex over the center stake at about 15 feet, you have to come back down and actually push down through the high house and get below it, and it becomes a compound lead versus just a straight static lead off to the edge.
Really good shooting from the competitors again. They've both now hit 8 in a row, and they're back to their 4th station, which is called station number 4 on the range. And Bokossi has just missed her first target in 9. Hits the next 3, so she finishes on 14. Now, Jushanamit will go home with the bronze medal if she hits all 4 targets on this station. She could decide it here. Two so far. 2 more will do it.
She really is taking those targets, or the first target, pretty late. I was watching the break point on that one, and it's right over top of the stake. So she's definitely, I don't know if she's having a hard time seeing them or just not quite there, and she's making sure that she's pointing them out. She's doing what she has to do to break the targets, and obviously it worked. There she goes.
It has worked. Sutiya Jushanamit of Thailand, the 30-year-old, beats the Olympic champion in this bronze medal match. She's currently the world ranked number 4. It's a nice way for her to end the year after she went into the Olympics with great form, having won 2 back-to-back gold medals for the first time ever. She missed out on the Olympic final after finishing 10th, and this will be nice motivation for her going into the season of 2017. That's a really good end to the year for Sutiya Jushanamit. Congratulations for that bronze medal. Now, Vincent, it's understandable as a 16-year-old, you didn't care too much about anyone around you. You just wanted to win everything you could. What about when 3 years later, when you had grown up a bit and at 19 years old, you became the Olympic champion in Beijing? Can you remember what that feeling was like? Not only the feeling, but when you returned home, the attention that you and the sport maybe received?
It was a little bit more than I was expecting, to be honest. I mean, that was my dream. I wanted to win an Olympic gold medal, and I put everything that I had towards it. And having accomplished that, standing up on the podium and listening to the national anthem and having the Olympic gold medal hung around my neck, it was a surreal feeling. I wasn't prepared to what was going to come afterwards. I was in the military as well, so that was kind of a very fast-paced, about 6-month whirlwind tour around the United States, doing different things, and between the media and the different things that I was exposed to, it was a lot of fun, but it was also a lot of very time-consuming as well for a newlywed at 19 years old, and in 2008 I got married. I won the Olympics and we bought our first house. So a lot of things happened that year.
That's not a bad year.
No, but it was interesting, and it gave me a perspective on what to expect in 2012. In 2008, I was kind of expected to win. I was going in at the current world record holder. I had won a World Cup earlier that year, and I was ready to move forward and get on. And 2012, I was coming off of a year that I had in 2011 where it was the worst one that I had in my competing career. And nobody expected me to win. So that one was more for myself than it was for anybody else. And to kind of show that everyone, their expectations doesn't matter. It's all of what I expect from myself and what I want to go out and do. So it was, I had a lot of fun with it, and thankfully my wife has been there for all 3 of my Olympic journeys. And she's watched me at my highs and at my lows, and she still loves me, so that makes me very thankful. Growing up and competing at my first Olympics at 19, I was the youngest one there, and I'm not so young anymore. So it's I'm 27 now, and I'll be 31 at the next Olympics.
Still young in my eyes, Vincent.
Well, obviously it doesn't matter to Kim. She's going strong, and she's been doing it since she was 15 years old. Her first Olympics, she was 17, and but she's just kind of a good role model to know that I still got it in me. I can keep going.
And that's really important for young spectators, young viewers of the sport, because of now it's really good that the ISSF are actually holding separate junior World Cups where we see up-and-coming talent. You guys, knowing that you started so young is really good for them. And just on the point you mentioned, I mean, you don't have to tell us what your wealth is here, but buying your first house at 19, is that because you were shooting so well, you got so much attention, you were able to just live as a shooter, or were you doing other things at the time?
I was, being in the military, we couldn't accept any sponsorships or anything like that. So it wasn't, thankfully, USA Shooting and the U.S. Olympic Committee does pay athletes for winning Olympic medals. So we used that money that we earned from the Olympics as a down payment for our house. And obviously, it wasn't enough to buy anything, to pay it all off, and nothing huge. We had a very small house, but it was enough, and that's where we started our family at.
Great.
And Kim now has a 1-target lead, so they're moving on pretty well here.
Yeah. It was Weimang of China who missed a low target on her second station, allowing Rodi to take advantage, having shot perfectly so far.
And this is, just for everybody's reference, this is an Olympic rematch of the bronze medal match in Rio. So going forward, Kim was pretty frustrated with herself that she gave up a late target to be able to get in, or to have to get into a shoot-off here. And so she's been practicing the reverses and these final targets quite a bit. And like I said earlier, a few days ago, her and I were practicing and pushing each other. And we shot 3 different finals. I won the first one, she won the second one, we tied the last one. And but we had shoot-offs and everything afterwards because we were tied after every final. So we got into shoot-offs, and it was a lot of fun. We pushed each other. And that's really important, I think, for the growth of athletes. Is she trains by herself and I train by myself, but when you can come together and have athletes to train with that can actually push you, you get so much better, so much quicker that way.
She's on her reverse station at the moment. She's shot 10 out of 10 so far, and that's 12 out of 12.
When Kim starts moving like this, it's almost impossible to beat her.
Now, we talked a little bit about your past, so let's go back to your future then. Let's go back to the future. Going into the next Olympic cycle, you've decided to take a break for personal reasons. You've got a family. Just tell us what helped you make this decision.
I just needed some time off. I wanted to spend more time with my kids and with my wife. I wanted them to actually have a father, and my wife to have a husband for more than a month at a time.
Yeah,
so
right.
It's it's going to be good for me. This is the first time I've had off since I started shooting in general at about 10 or 11 years old. And I've got some other business things that I'm trying to get going, and we'll see. One of the really interesting things is that I'll have an opportunity to work with George Achilleos and Andrea Bonelli. We've come together to start a company for shooting a school. So
Great.
you'll be seeing us coming in together at the beginning of next year and doing some really fun things there.
Fantastic. But you will be part of the next Olympic cycle, we emphasize.
Absolutely. I'll be competing and going for a 3rd gold medal in Tokyo.
And Rhodey's on the verge of a gold here herself if she
got
hits
it.
2,
Very
which she
nice.
has done. It's the perfect gold medal match for her. And that's a really nice end to yet another successful year. It will take me quite a few minutes to actually count up all the medals that she's won, but in the curtain closer for the ISSF season, that is the 3rd overall medal that Kimberly Rhodey has won at the World Cup finals. It's her 2nd gold, her first in 5 years after she won gold at Al Ain in 2011. So she finishes her Olympic year, her record-breaking Olympic year, with a gold medal at this curtain closer. And for Weimang of China, the 27-year-old, she equals her best ever World Cup final finish, and in fact her best ever career medal, which is silver. The last time she won silver at the World Cup final was 2 years ago in that gorgeous range of Gabala in Azerbaijan. And there you can see the 3 medalists. Sutiya Jushanamit of Thailand waves to the crowd after winning a bronze medal. Weimang, the silver medalist, the 4th overall silver medal of her career. And it's Kimberly Rhodey, 37 years old, wins yet another medal. Her trophy cabinet gets bigger every single year. Well, thank you very much for joining us for the Skeet Women's Final. We hope you enjoyed both finals today. We appreciate your company. Remember, you can find ISSF on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. You can like, subscribe and share. We'd very much like you to do so in what has been an amazing year for shooting sport. We thank you once again. And Vincent, I could talk to you for 200, 300, 500 more finals. It's great to get your insight and talk to you about your experience. We wish you all the best with your winter break. We hope it won't be long before we see you soon, and we appreciate your company as always.
Thank you very much. I appreciate being here.
The bronze medal, representing Thailand, goes to Sutiya Jushanamit. Gentlemen, please rise if you're able for the national anthem of the United States of America. Ladies and gentlemen, we congratulate the winners of the Skeet Women's event. And just so you're all aware, along as their trophies and medals, the winner will receive €1,200, silver place will receive €800, and bronze will receive €500. And just a reminder that we have one final tomorrow, the Skeet men's final at 2 o'clock. But once again, please put your hands together for the winners of the Skeet Women's event.